Mhm.
Hey, thanks for doing this. I know I switched this on you at the last minute. I just saw at the same time coffee pods and wads.
That's
Your
all right. I've got something going on the computer, so if I look down, because I thought I'd be finished by now, because obviously we were going to be an hour, but I hopefully it should be done in 10 minutes. So if I look down quickly, it's because I'm trying to finish something.
Okay. And if I look down, it's because someone if I look down or to the left, it's because someone sent me some porn. And I'm quickly erasing it off my computer. Or at least saving it. Hey, where are you right now?
So I'm at minute. So I split my time between London and Devon. So Devon's over on the south coast of the UK, near the beaches. So at the minute I'm in Devon.
In is Devon is that home? Is that like where you keep
Well,
all your
I kind of split, as I say, I split my time between here and just outside London. So I've got a property here and a property there. So I literally spend 50% time here and 50% there. So I suppose you can call them both home.
How big is Devon, Ross?
It's a pretty big county. I don't know the population, but it's right by the coast. So you've got all the locals that live here, but then you get a lot of the city goers that come down here for sort of little summer vacations and that. Because I'm only 5 minutes from the beach.
And how long did you say the drive is between Devon and London?
About three and a half hours.
Okay, because I mean London's like a proper metropolis. I mean, I don't know if it still is, but it was the economic, center of the world for many years. I mean, I'm guessing it's chaos compared to Devon.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's probably about 10 times the size of Devon. So well, not the size, but just with the infrastructure and stuff there, yeah, it's pretty hectic. It's nice to be down here. It's much quieter, much slower pace of life down here.
Let me ask you this: does Devon have an Apple store?
No,
No. Okay,
we
good.
only got a KFC about 10 years ago. That's how far.
KFC.
So that's the kind of levels we're talking about. You come down here if you want peace and quiet.
Okay, that's what I always tell my people. Like they're like, "What's your town like?" I'm like, "We don't have an Apple store," you know.
Nah.
And everyone,
London's got everything. If you want to come, I mean, we only just about got internet down here, so yeah, it's nice and quiet down here.
did you grow up there as a kid?
No, this was where I was based when I joined the military. This is where I got posted, and I was originally I came from South London. So when I got posted down here, and I was near the beaches, and I saw how peaceful and quiet and how nice it was being down here, I ended up staying down here and buying a property down here. So I've always had that since since I got posted here from the military.
Is it a military town? Like we have these towns all over the country. There's kind of like there's two things that will make a town in the United States will be if the military lands there, obviously, jails, a big jail, or universities. Like if you put a university somewhere, those three things kind of can be their own economies. Is that what Devon is? Is it a military
Well,
town?
I wouldn't class it as a military town. It's got a military base here, but it's not what we would class in the UK as a military town. For it to be classed, they call them garrisons over here. So for it to be classed as a military garrison, you need probably 3 or 4 different military units to be all based there at the same time, and then it becomes like a massive like military town, and then you can call it a military kind of town or garrison, as we say over here.
So if the military left, the town wouldn't go away.
No.
No. How old are you?
I'm 42.
And hey, why did you join the military?
I suppose because I was quite, I was fit young lad. At the time, I had cousins in the military, um, and when I left school and left college and stuff like that, I struggled to find a job. To be honest, I wanted to go into sort of like the PT fitness industry, and it was the same old sort of cliche, you haven't got any experience, so we can't give you a job. And I was like, well, how can I get experience unless you give me a job? And then I was kind of stuck. I ended up working for my dad for a little bit. And then, yeah, I thought, you know what, I'm going to go and join the military. There's lots of opportunities there, travel the world, you can get more qualifications. And I was a fit young lad, and I thought, why not?
And what year was it?
So I joined in 2000.
So I don't know if it's like this in your country, but that's kind of like we kind of have this moment. Obviously, 9/11. We say pre 9/11 or post 9/11 often. So it's pre 9/11, before
Yeah,
kind
pre
of the Hornet.
9/11. Yeah,
Do you guys use that there, kind of as a time when like the hornet's nest was stirred?
yeah, definitely. I was due to go to Cyprus, and then they obviously, when 9/11 happened, everything changed, and then obviously we all got sent to different units to get ready for what was about to happen. So yeah, that kind of, changed obviously the course probably of what was going to happen.
And when you entered the military, and I'm using sweeping generalizations, but in the United States, I would characterize it. There's two kinds of people who kind of maybe enter the military. Ones who are like, fuck, what am I going to do with my life? Or my dad's been beating me at home, or I'm about to go to jail, or you know what I mean? There's this group of kids that are looking for discipline and kind of a reprieve to like go somewhere and kind of surrender themselves and kind of get their shit together with discipline and money and the things that the military offers. And then there's these other kids that maybe come from a lineage, or they've had this dream to be kind of a fighter. If I were to put them in two big buckets,
Yeah.
and if you think that's unfair, please tell me. But
No,
just
no, I completely
okay.
agree.
Um, you were. I'm guessing you were kind of in neither bucket though. Like you weren't like, it's not like you were getting yourself in trouble, but not necessarily you were ready to go. You had some sort of romanticism of the military.
As I say, I had cousins at the time and that were in the military, and I was just a very fit young lad, and I wanted to do fitness. I wanted to do, as I say, I wanted to go into the fitness industry, and there at the time, no one would give me a job. And the opportunities I saw within the military, you could join. Obviously, there's lots of different branches within the military, so depending on what branch you wanted to join, depending on what jobs were available. So at the time, because I was a fit young lad, I could join the Marines, for example. I was initially going to join the Marines, but when you do all your basic training in the Marines and you do the commando course, you then don't necessarily get to become a fighting soldier. You could get sent to the Marine Corps and be a chef. Now, I didn't join the military to be a chef. I wanted to go and see the action and see, and do all of that. So
You did want to see the action.
I did, yeah. But
Yeah.
I knew what I was signing up for. I'm joining the military at the end of the day, and I know exactly what that was about. So I suppose part of me wanted to see a bit of action. I was a fit young lad. Initially, then after looking at the Marines, I looked at the PT Corps, and someone was like, because I thought if I, initially I wanted to be a PTI and go into the fitness industry. Maybe if I joined the PT Corps, I could obviously train the military soldiers. But then someone said to me, would you rather be doing it or teaching it? And I was like, actually, I love fitness. And I was like, actually, I'd rather be doing it. So I didn't then join the PT course. So I was looking and umming and ahhing which kind of regiment to join. And then I had a cousin in the engineers, in the Royal Engineers, and he said, why don't you join the Royal Engineers? Obviously, there's a standard of education that you need to requirement to get in. But once you get in, there's so many options. You can go and do the commando course. You can go and work the Marines. You can go and do P Company and your jumps, and then go and work with the parachute regiment. You can be a diver. You can go and get lots of qualifications. So I was like, okay, that seems interesting. So I looked into the engineers and ended up joining the Royal Engineers. I went and did the commando course. I went and did my diving course and I pretty much did all the courses I wanted to, and then ended up getting loads of different qualifications that I can use in Civvy Street if I wanted to. And at the same time, I then get to go and be a commando and get attached to the Marines and go and see the action as well. So I got kind of the best of everything by joining the Royal Engineers.
When you say you were a fit lad, what were you doing?
So what was in before?
Like what got you so fit? Were you playing sports
I
or
was
in the
all,
gym or?
Yeah, well, at the time, I played a lot of football. As a kid growing up, I wanted to be a professional footballer. Had multiple trials for different teams growing up, but never quite made it. But yeah, so I was a fit lad, cross country running. I just liked all sports really. I tried to play as much sports as I could and just be active. So, boxing, a little bit of boxing as well. So, yeah, I was just a fit, young, active lad. So that just, obviously helped me with going into the military.
So when you say footballer, you're referencing what we call in the States soccer.
Yeah, what you call soccer,
Yeah.
we called it.
You call it what it really
rugby
is.
over
here. Yeah, footballer makes sense. So your metabolic capacity was pretty incredible. You could run, the medium distance as well, and you were crazy explosive in anything less than, a mile. Like you could run explosively for minutes at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, and your body was adapted for that. It's interesting, those, that's the lineage that the great Miko Salo came from. We saw him turn that monster engine of his, into just a gritty, fucking unbelievable CrossFitter, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, so you do that, and then you join, and what are your parents cool with you joining?
Yeah, my parents have just, have always been supportive. They were like, if that's what you want to do, then we'll support you. So we had cousins and uncles that had been in the military and that. So yeah, they were just very supportive. And yeah, just supported whatever I wanted to do, really.
And this group of Royal Engineers, I'm not familiar with the term, but they sound like smarty pants. They sound like, you put the word royal there and engineer, and in the US that would make you smart and classy.
Yeah, well, I think it's just like heritage, and that. It's obviously because our military is quite linked to the royal family and stuff like that. There's a lot of heritage when it comes with the military and that over here. So I'm not 100% sure why it's called the Royal Engineers, but the engineers. I found it was a good corps to join because, like I say, you can do a bit of everything. You can go and support everybody, and obviously we had our own role ourselves as combat engineers, but also that we then can go and support other regiments that necessarily can't do our job, but we can do theirs, if you know what I mean. So it was kind of it was quite a good regiment to join, to be honest, because as I say, you got options and you got choices to go and do what you wanted to do.
Generically speaking, when we think in the United States, we think of the Marines, we think of, air and water, and we think of the Navy as the water, and we think of the Army as the guys on feet, and the Air Force is obviously the air, and the Coast Guard are the dudes in the kind of maybe like the support guys in the boats. Are the Royal Engineers, do they have a generalization of what they do?
So yeah, so we come under, so Royal Engineers come under the Army, but because I was commando trained, I actually came and we got sent. I got posted down here to Devon, which is a commando engineer unit, but it's a Marine Corps base. So we actually got posted as a small regiment onto a Marine base, and obviously the Marines come under the Navy. So most of my career was with the commando engineers. So I've always been at a Marine base. So we've always come under 3 Commando Brigade, which is part of the Navy, effectively. Even though I was actually Army, we, because of my job and who I was attached to, we were, I suppose, like, part of the Navy, really.
And then even more specifically, as we drill down, then you did commando. You said you did commando training and diving training. What is commando training? Are those units that get special tasks? Is that kind of like how, like our Rangers or our SEALs or our
but pretty much kind of similar of this. So if you want to, so obviously the Marines, the difference between the Marines and the Commandos. So apart from that, we're just obviously the Commandos are the Army, but they're basically the Marine version, but within the Army. So the Army Commandos were the original Commandos before the Navy then made a separate unit, which then became the Marines. But yeah, we have to do a 12-week selection course that you have to pass to earn your green beret. Now that 12-week part is part of a Marine's basic training. So when we go to do the commando course, we're already trained soldiers because I've already done my training and I'm already part of the engineers, and I'm choosing to want to go and do the commando course so I can then go and work with the Marines. So that 12-week phase that we do, which is just the commando part, we go into that as trained soldiers, whereas Marines do all of their training in I think it's 52 weeks, all in a one.
Sorry for all of this, but I'm just so curious. In a commando group is how many guys? Is there a certain number of guys?
So my unit was quite small. We was a small independent squadron. So a squadron can be, you'd have in one squadron, you'd have up to 3 or 4 troops. In each troop, you'd have about 30 guys. So we're probably about 100, roughly about 100 men kind of size, which is very small. But that's why then we were attached to the Marines. So then the Marines basically had 100 combat engineers that they could do what they please with. You know, we've got all the different quals, we've got all the different training, and we can support them however they need to use us.
And when you would, Ross, when you would be deployed, could you be deployed as a commando with your group to, let's say, okay, hey, we have a cartel guy in Colombia, we need you to go get him, or hey, we need you to guard, there's a caravan traveling between Kabul and somewhere else, we need you to protect it? Like, did you have specific missions like that?
Yeah,
you
could anything really, depending on what the unit was tasked to do. It could be anything from go and meet an elder in the local town, speak to them, you know, work out if we can provide them with some food and water, or it could be completely the other end, like you say, go and take out this leader and blah blah blah. It could be the range of missions where, you know, it could be anything really. It all depends on who got tasked what, and then what group you got attached to. So basically, whatever group I was attached to, their missions then became my missions.
Gotcha. And you were deployed twice.
Yeah, so I did a tour of Iraq, and then I did 2 tours of Afghanistan. And it was on my last tour of Afghanistan I got injured.
And can you tell me about what year your first deployment was in Iraq? And can you give me an idea of what you guys did there?
So 2003, and obviously it was looking for weapons of mass destruction.
Did you guys find them?
We didn't find anything.
You didn't find. That's what I heard. That's what I heard.
No, we didn't find anything. So, we were just I think I was at Qasar, which was one of the ports. So the unit we were attached to, we just had to take over the port and then guard that port and make sure nothing went in and out of it, basically. So that was my first experience of Iraq.
You guys took over a port?
Yeah.
Wow. So and was the port being held at the time?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we had to take it and then occupy it, and then we literally stayed there and occupied it, and we sunk all their ships and whatnot, and then didn't let anything enter or leave, and that was our mission.
Wow, that's intense. And so when you guys get to the port, there's guys there saying "fuck you, you can't have it," and you're like, "Okay, well, we're just gonna take it."
Yeah, we'll see about that.
And a battle ensued.
Yeah, pretty much.
And did the UK do that on their own, or were you partnered up with other countries?
No, we always partnered up with the Americans. So obviously, because we've got a long-standing relationship. So we always support obviously the Americans. We wouldn't, if America hadn't gone into Iraq, I doubt we probably would have gone in. And it was the same with Afghanistan. Obviously, you know, we supported the Americans and went in. But we used to then bring in the Danish and sometimes the Dutch guys as well. So
Canadians?
Yeah, sometimes Canadians. Yeah.
Because they have a pretty active group of guys too that work with the US, right? It seems like
they do, yeah.
It seems like it's pretty low key. It's not talked about, but whenever I talk to Canadian soldiers, it sounds like they're pretty active.
Yeah, they're pretty active. As I say, most of the time, if you work with the Americans, you can 9 times out of 10 be working with the Canadians as well, because they all partner quite a lot.
And so when you get to this, what did you call it? A harbor, this base, this water base. Are there a lot of boats there?
Yeah, there were a couple of naval ships there that were unoccupied, obviously after they left. So, you know, we were tasked to sink them and make them not usable. So we'd go down, search. And at the time, I was a diver as well, so I was part of the dive team as well. So we had a few divers in the water. There was some underwater mines that we had to clear and get rid of, and then we just had to sink the ship. So we put explosives on and just blow holes in the bottom of the ship so they'd sink, so they couldn't be used.
And you just watch them. You set the explosives. Guys would stand ashore. Someone in the cartoons pushes the thing down, and
pretty much, yeah. Press a button and bang, yeah, and then just watch it sink over the next few hours.
Wow. And so those boats are probably still there at the bottom.
Oh yeah, they're 100% still be there. Yeah.
Wild. And I hope you guys did an environmental survey, so no innocent fish.
Well, that's the best way to fish.
You guys were actually helping the environment. Those are probably amazing coral reefs now, providing home and mating areas for loads of fish.
Hopefully, yeah. I haven't been back, so I don't know.
Have you ever seen that? Those oil derricks that they'll have out in the middle of the ocean, and
Yeah,
they'll
yeah, I've
just
seen
turn
them.
into
Yeah,
these incredible fucking breeding grounds for fish.
yeah, I've seen them. Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Um, and so you do that, and then you come back, and then you deploy again to Afghanistan,
yeah.
and then you come back, and then you deploy again to Afghanistan.
That's right. Yeah. So came back from Iraq. We had a little bit of a downtime, and then obviously Afghanistan kicked off. And then yeah, we deployed to Afghanistan. At the time in Afghanistan, that time IEDs weren't really in theatre, so it was just all firefighting, like close quarter battles, and that's getting up close and personal, which was quite a hectic tour. We lost quite a few. Well, my regiment personally didn't, but the guys that we were attached to lost quite a few guys. But there was no IEDs in theatre, so it would literally be going out on patrol. You'd get ambushed, or you'd go and infiltrate a village that was occupied by the Taliban, and obviously take that back and whatnot. So it's completely different tour to the one I got injured on, and then obviously finished that tour, then came back. Pretty quick turnaround. Only was back in the country for probably about a year before we had to then deploy again, and then yeah, deployed back to Afghanistan to a different part this time, and obviously IEDs were in theatre, and it was like literally every week soldiers were getting injured by IEDs. So you couldn't leave your fob or your base. Like you couldn't even get 100 meters out the front gate before finding an IED in, and it'd stop, and it just slowed everything down, and became, quite hard to do any of the operations, because you knew, if you had to get to point A, it'd probably take you ages to get there, because you got to clear a route, because you would have known the Taliban have planted all sorts. So it just became a lot harder to do your job.
And when you say an IED, it's everything from a landmine that's just like your classic, generic landmine that's just something under the sand that you step onto,
Yeah.
like a kid's teddy bear that
Yeah,
you
it could
pick
be
up.
anything. So, I mean, Afghanistan's riddled with mines from when Russia invaded. So there is thousands of old mines just left in the ground, and they're not even marked on a map, so you don't even know that they're there. And then, so yes, you've got all those to deal with, and then basically, obviously, because there's a war going on, obviously, there's lots of shells and bombs get dropped, and all they do is they used to just pick up these empty shells and then pack them with whatever they could find and put explosives in them, and then rebury them back in the ground. And then, so most of the IEDs are obviously, what it stands for is improvised explosive device. So it's just a homemade bomb, basically. So they would pick up all these shells that we'd basically fired on them, repack them, bury them in, and give them back to us, basically.
And are they basically just like a pressure plate? It's like you step on the button.
Yeah, well, different. So you had different types. So you had a pressure pad one. So basically, with a pressure pad one, you just need the smallest amount of metal contact, and your body weight would trigger it, because you'd step on it, you'd touch, and then obviously detonate the device. Or the other one is, it can be remote controlled, but with remote controlled, they need line of sight, so they'd have to be within the area somewhere. And 9 times out of 10, that what they found is, if they were in the area, our sniper would find them. So they kind of switched tactics a bit, and left the sort of remote controlled one for like the sides of the roads and for vehicles instead, because if you've got a long road, you can be like miles out of sight but still have sight on where you want to detonate it. So they kind of switched that to sort of roadside bombs, and using that for vehicle convoys, and then use the pressure pad ones to try and get the soldiers out on foot patrol.
Before you had your experience with the one that hit you, had you seen any others go off in your previous deployment?
Yeah, I've seen a few go off. So on my tour, actually, about a week before I got injured, one of the lads trod on one and got injured, and I had to Kazivac him, help part of the Kazivac team get him back, and that. And funny, we have a bit of banter, but the last thing he said to me before I put him on the Chinook to take him out of there, we got him on there, and he was like, "Oh, see you later," and was like, "Yeah, see you later." And then a week later, I got injured, and then flown back to the UK, and I saw him in hospital. I was like, "It's your fault. You said I'll see you later."
How long were you into the mission? How long had you been deployed before you got hit by the IED?
So I was November. So I'd been out there since beginning of September, and then I got injured on the 19th of November. So I was quite early on in that tour.
Just roughly, during that time, were you doing like, obviously in your first deployment to Iraq, you had your target, and then you captured it, and then you stayed there. And on these last two tours, were you coming in and out on a
Yeah,
regular basis, like
yeah,
you had nightly
yeah,
missions?
yeah. In and out. We'd go and meet the elders and that, and speak to them and see if we can support the locals best we can. And then at the same time, we were still trying to advance, occupy ground and positions and that. So we were coming back and forth, and probably, I'd say, doing missions at least every couple of days. And then we actually decided to when I got injured. So at the time we were sharing a fob with American Special Forces, and we wanted to move to sort of only about a K up the road to a separate compound. So we had two locations. Obviously, the Americans could occupy that. We could be there, and we can communicate and just cover more ground. So we'd done a recce of the compound that we wanted to sort of kind of take over. And obviously, the Taliban knew that what was happening, we've been watching us and that. And then on the day of going to move in and take over this compound, they just IEDs everywhere. And as we were getting closer to the compound, obviously being an engineer, I deal in explosives. So one of my roles is explosive entry. So we were going to get into a compound, and they had occupied it. So I knelt down, basically set a charge, was going to set a 30-second fuse to blow a hole in, and then the Marines can get in and do what they need to do. And as I knelt down to set the charge, 3 rounds hit the wall above my head. So I knew I got contacted. So I had to make a split decision. Do I want to keep that 30-second charge and potentially, get shot, or do I can see you've got a picture up there. That's me triggering the IED. Or do I leg it? I'd cleared a route up there, but I didn't mark it because the plan was to set the charge and clear a separate route back. So I had to make a split decision. I knew roughly the line that I came up. I'm just going to take my chances because rounds were getting close, and they whiz past your ear and that. So I just started running while I was getting shot at, and I got where that wall, you can see on that photo where that wall is, where the guys are all stacked. So on the other side of that, I got about 2 meters from that wall, and then it just went bang.
So these guys down here, there's one guy on the left, and there's 3 guys you can see on the right. Those are your homies. That's
Yeah,
boys.
they were part of my section. So
And you're in that dust pile right there somewhere?
I'm up there. I'm in that. It's about 20 foot in that pile somewhere up there. Yeah.
And you're like flying through the air somewhere up here.
Literally in the air. It was like slow motion. When I triggered the IED, everything went slow motion. It was strange. And then I kind of got flung up in the air, and then as I landed, it kind of sped back up to sort of real time, and obviously rounds were getting fired and shouting when all sorts was going on. And it just so happened my troop commander that was at the back of the convoy was filming, because he was going to film actually my explosion that I was going to cause, to get into the compound. But actually he caught me triggering the ID.
Ross, so is that job that you had, is that what you call a breacher?
Yeah, basically we're breaching into a compound. Yeah.
And so basically, in a compound it's a concrete wall around, like, where several.
Yeah, similar to that wall. So what you can see on that picture. So just like a wall, because most of the buildings in the village are just mud hut walls, like what you see there. So it was just a wall like that, that we were trying to get into. And obviously with experience, roughly the thickness of the wall and that, and how much explosives you need to put in to get a hole in there, because you don't want to be messing about trying to get in there when there's guys on the other side waiting for you. So you normally go overkill, put enough in there to make sure you take either at least put a hole in it, or at least take half the wall down so the lads can get in and do what they need to do. But yeah, as I say, I got shot out and decided to make that split decision, and just, instead of clearing a separate route, I just decided to run and hope for the best. And as I say, I got a couple of meters from that wall, and then it just went bang. But lucky that wall was there, because if that wall hadn't been there, I would probably killed 3 or 4 of those guys that you could see in the photo.
What? How did the wall protect them if they were on the side of the wall?
They're on the other side. On the other side.
Oh, you were.
There's a hole. So where that wall is, there's a hole that I'd already blown to get through, and then I was moving on to the next compound to blow that hole to get through to that one, and I was coming back to this one. So you move up in sections. So
okay,
I'd already blown a hole in that. That's why you can see some of the smoke that's come through the hole this side.
yes.
So they're protected by that wall.
So it was 2 walls. Sorry, I didn't understand that. There were 2 walls. You already breached one, and you were going
side. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm in the middle basically. I'd already blown a hole in that wall, gone through. I was blowing a hole in the second wall, but I was then coming back to that first wall where the rest of the lads were waiting, and that's where you can see. So if that wall hadn't have been there and it would have been open, I would have probably ended up injuring and maybe killing a couple of the guys in the section.
When you approach that compound and you're clearing it for IEDs, Ross, how long does that take to go to approach it? Is that like is it 20 minutes? Is it an hour?
I mean, you're not running. I mean, you're walking at a reasonable place with it's basically essentially a metal detector, and you know the different tones. You know, there's all sorts of crap in the ground, but you know over experience, you know the tones of a metal ring pull from a can to an IED. You know, there's just different signals and different tones, and you know that, so you could ignore most of it, and it's when you normally get. So you're walking, so like 100 meters would probably take you properly 15-20 minutes to clear properly.
And you're doing that knowing that there's guys around who have you in their scope too, like bad guys who are seeing you do this.
Yeah, but that's why you've got your snipers and you've got your lookers out there, so you're hoping they see them before they see you, so you can just get on with your job.
And in your walk to the wall, did you find any IEDs?
Not on that particular one, but before that mission, I'd found loads. We'd found quite a few IEDs, but
so that's kind of crazy. You were walking to the wall and you actually found a clear path without seeing a single IED. But there's so many that when you ran back, even though you were proximate to the path.
Yeah, I roughly. So all I can imagine is that towards the end of the running, I just veered off slightly, and it only takes a step. You know, if you're walking in a straight line and you're marking out, it's only a step left or right, and you can fire an IED.
Normally, you said if you thought you were going to come back that way, you would have marked it. How do you mark it?
So we just have tiny little flags. So they're just tiny little bits of metal with just a bit of coloured mind tape on, and you make hundreds of them, and you just in your pocket. And every couple of steps, you just pin it in the ground and you mark it out, and then you either stay left to that side, in walking distance, and you just follow it up. But my plan was to never mark it out, because I was going to clear a route. I was going to set a charge, and for me, I didn't need to be. I didn't have to get all the way back to where the lads were waiting. I could have just moved down the wall, because I knew the charge wasn't going to reach me, because I've done it thousands of times. So that's why I didn't mark it out, because I never planned on coming back down it.
And the leg that you lost, was that the leg that actually stepped on it?
No, so it was so the leg that I lost was my left leg above the knee, but my right foot was the one that initiated. So that triggered the pressure pad, and obviously with a small explosion, you get which then initiates the large main charge. So that small explosion lacerated my foot in half. So I've only got half a foot on my right side, and then that triggered the main charge that came in from the side. Did some big damage. I've got a big scar on my right hand side. Did some damage to that, and then as I took my next step, then obviously hit my left leg.
When you say you have half your foot, like the front's missing, or it's like
yeah, literally, I'm like that. So I'm missing half of my foot, so I haven't got any toes.
Holy shit! I didn't realize that. Wow, it's wild that it didn't kill you or hurt your face or blow off an arm. It's crazy that it only got. It's your calf. I shouldn't say just, but it's your calf and half a foot.
So half a foot on the right side, half a foot, and then I've got on the sort of the shin bone, I've got a big scar, and then from the knee upwards, I'm missing most of the back of my hamstring, and most of half of that right side of my glute is quite, it's a substantial scar. It covers most of the back of my leg. And I was very lucky not to lose that leg as well. But that video that you put up earlier, if you watch that, I actually show the interviewer my scars, and you can actually see the scars and the injuries that I sustained. But I was very lucky that I didn't lose my right leg, because that was the one closest to the charge. So I was very lucky that I didn't lose that leg as well.
Did you lose consciousness?
No. So as I said before, when the explosion happened, I was still conscious. Obviously, adrenaline had kicked in. I didn't know what had happened, but I knew obviously we were in a firefight and there was all sorts going on. It wasn't until the medics got to me and they tried to move my legs and put me on a stretcher that I just screamed out in pain, because I didn't look down at the time because I was just too busy, because all sorts was going on. I was too busy shouting at people and telling them, trying to still tell people what to do and that. And it wasn't until they moved me onto the stretcher that I realised I was in how much pain I was in. And then they gave me some morphine and that, and then I think I passed out. I don't remember anything after that.
Wow, that's wild. So you didn't know, so you pass out, and then when you wake up, where are you?
So when I went straight back to Camp Bastion, and then they normally fly you out when they get you back to Camp Bastion. The rule of thumb was if they can fly you out within 24 hours, your survival rate goes up massively. But I wasn't stable enough to fly out. I had to have 10 emergency operations in Camp Bastion to stabilize me. But I don't remember any of this to stabilize me. And then they actually.
And when you say 10 operations, is that to stop bleeding?
Yeah, to try and stop bleeding. I assume just because, as I say, that scar I've got on this right leg is massive. It was, it covers from the back of my knee right up to my glute, it looks like a shark bite. It's huge, and it was completely open, like a massive wound. So you can imagine trying to close that or stop the bleeding, and
right, you probably had no skin to even like
had no
close
skin.
it.
One of my main arteries was on show. They couldn't believe that. They were like, we don't know how that didn't get nicked. If that had been nicked, I'd have bled out in like less than a minute. But you can imagine it took quite a long time to kind of get that wound in a position where they were comfortable enough to fly me back to the UK. And it wasn't till 24 hours later that I actually then flew back to the UK. But I don't remember any of that.
And so it wasn't until you got to the UK. How many days later? 3 days later?
So I got back. Must have been, well, if I flew back the next day, I reckon probably I woke up probably from when it happened 3 days later. But as I say, I don't remember. I'd already probably been back in hospital. But the first time I wake up again, and from passing out on the battlefield, was back in the UK in hospital, and that would have been about 3 days later.
And you'd been in 12 years at that point?
Yes, I've done 12 years in the military.
Were you planning to do 20?
I was actually planning to come finish that tour, and then I was lucky. I was a section commander, so I was in charge of 10 guys, all really good soldiers, really fit lads, and we kind of all decided at that time when we come back from this tour that we was all going to go on selection and try and go for special forces and pass selection. And then I obviously got injured, so that never happened. But half of my section went on to complete the selection process, and now currently serving with the special forces.
Wow, so you guys were really close. All 10 of you were like, would sit around and be like, hey, let's fucking do special forces.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. I've never heard a story like that. That's awesome. So you guys were really close, and you get there and you wake up and you quickly realize, I'm not, some parts are missing.
Yeah, well, I didn't know. They tried to save my left leg, so it didn't come off completely. It was kind of hanging there. So they tried to save it, but eventually they were like, it's not savable. But I didn't really know the extent of my injuries for a while, actually, until I think I ended up My parents at the time were living in America. They flew over to the UK. Well, my mum flew over and stayed with me for 3 months. And when I was in intensive care for 6 months, having operations pretty much every other day. So my mum flew over and stayed there. My dad, because of work, was going back and forth. So he'd go back for work for a week, and then every weekend he was pretty much flying back and forth from LA to come and visit me.
Oh my God, that's a trek.
Yeah, so I was in intensive care for 6 months, and then before I got then moved up onto like a normal ward because of the state of the injuries. Obviously, with the open wounds, it took quite a long time for it to close and heal, and because of risk of infection, I couldn't be up on a normal ward, so I had to be like in my own room on intensive care.
So if you're in and out of surgeries for 3 months, that means they're putting you under a lot. So you're not of clear mind. You're just
Nah,
it's kind of just a fog.
I remember bits, but not a great deal. Most of the time I remember is after that time, and I was up on the sort of the main normal ward with a couple of other injured soldiers. I remember those times, but I'd say the first 3 months, I don't really remember too much. As I say, I was having like 8 out of 10 operations like every other day.
And when you had your final operation, did you know it was your final operation? Or like, oh no.
No. I ended up, so when I actually got discharged from the hospital and sent to Headley Court, which is our rehabilitation place for soldiers, and I was there for 3 years. Over the course of probably the first year and a half, I was still every now and then going back for operations, either to tidy up a little bit of the scar or to give me some skin grafts or something. So I was still, for the first year and a bit at Headley when I was doing my rehabilitation, still going back for some operations.
Dude, you know what's crazy? You would think with 47 operations, I hate to be so morbid, but you'd think with 47 operations, you'd have got an infection that would have killed you. I mean, that's a lot of time.
I mean, I didn't. I did at some point get a couple of
nasty infections.
Yeah, which is inevitable, especially as I say, if you see the wound on my right side and how big it is and the scar I'm left with, you'll realise then how big and open that wound is. The only way I remember they tried to stitch it up, but it wouldn't shut. It physically they couldn't close it. So the only way they managed to close it was to actually open it right up again, take sections of what was left actually to make it easier to close. They had to take more sections of the muscle and the ligaments and whatnot from inside the wound to help close it because it was so big.
Yeah, that's wild. Isn't it wild? This is also going to sound morbid, but how much effort was put in to save one man's life?
I know, yeah. I've seen
like they could have just thrown you away. You know what I mean? They could have just been like, fuck, dude, 47 operations, 2.5 years in the fucking, he's taking a bed. Fuck it. Just throw him away.
Yeah, it could have quite easily. I mean, I was lucky. I mean, we were very fortunate. I mean, the UK medical teams were known worldwide as being world class. Like, I mean, we'd treat other soldiers from other countries because they reckon our hospital in Camp Bastion in the middle of a desert was like one of the best hospitals in the world, and that was in the middle of Afghan that we brought over and built, and we had some of the best surgeons in the world working there. So, you know, if you were going to get injured, being in that hospital in Camp Bastion is where you wanted to be because you had some of the most amazing facilities in the world.
Yeah.
And the team, I've seen the footage. So one of the surgeons, I became obviously quite good friends with him. He'd done quite a few of my operations. We became quite good friends. And he actually showed me the footage of me coming off the Chinook with the medical team into the hospital at Camp Bastion. And the first thing you see on the footage is the hospital beds there waiting. They've got all the equipment, and there's about 15 people there, like nurses, doctors there. So each soldier, you know, we had 15 or so experts right there waiting, all had a specific role or job to do, waiting to do whatever it is they needed to do. So they were there waiting, and what you see is the pilot comes in, gives them all the medical information, and then straight away hand me over from that team goes to this team. So, you know, we were in great hands, you know. And the funny thing is, on the footage as well, the pilot comes in and he says, "Oh, this one's a bit punchy," so they had to strap me down. So apparently, when they were trying on the Chinook.
Did you hear him say that?
Yeah, he says it. Yeah, he comes in, he walks in, he's still got his pilot's out. He lifts his mask up, hands over all the notes, and he's like, "We've had to strap this one down. He's a bit punchy," because I didn't know what was going on. So I'm assuming,
yeah,
I was trying to fight people off, because I didn't know what was going on.
Hey, has anyone ever told you you look like Christian Bale?
Yeah, a few.
Yeah, man, it's crazy how much you look like Christian Bale, or how much he looks like you. Hey,
Yeah.
I hate to insert my own fucking political views here, but fuck it, I don't care.
No, fuck on.
You know, we have a city called Seattle in the United States, and we spend over $1 billion a year there giving drug addicts services. And it's become this whole industry. I would so rather turn that off and pay 1,000 doctors $1 million a year to do what they did for you. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like those doctors deserve to be fucking rich as fuck and drive Bentleys and have nice homes and have the nicest dogs and buy the nicest clothes for their wives or their husbands. And like when I put this shit in perspective for what those kind of people do relative to the way we spend this money in this country, $2 billion in LA, $24 billion for fucking drug addicts and criminals who their occupation is stealing to buy fucking drugs. I'm like, I know who should be getting paid a fortune. It's fucking surgeons that fucking work on. They should be filthy rich, and they should have private jets that fly them to and in and out of fucking Afghanistan and Iraq and wherever the fucking theater is.
100% agree.
It's fucking nuts. Just when you put the relative to their contribution, because at the end of the day, that's you know, Glassman told me this once. Our only contribution to humanity is what we can do for our fellow man. That's our only value on earth. And when I hear I can hear in your voice how much you value these guys who
Oh,
work
if it wasn't
around
for
you.
them, I wouldn't be here. I mean, there's a couple of
Yeah.
factors. I reckon one,
Yeah.
the fact that I was running when I hit the ID, saved my life. But then those guys, 100%. I believe I was about 18 minutes flight time. So from where I hit the IED to get me back into that field hospital in Camp Bastion in Afghanistan, I was 18 minutes flight time. Now, they reckon if my flight time had been 21 minutes, I would have bled out before I'd even got back. So those guys, you know, the guys and girls in that team on the Chinook, them saved me. The handover to the team at Camp Bastion saved me. And then obviously all the staff back in the UK at the hospital working on the injured soldiers once they get back to the UK. You know, so there's lots of people to thank, but it's all of those people. You know, a lot of us owe our lives to.
Yeah, I would take all the money that they do for breast implants or fucking sex change operations they do in the United States. Be like, sorry, you can't do that here. We're giving that money to the guy who fucking sewed up Ross Austen. Sorry, I don't. It's just it's unbelievable to me how amazing those guys are that saved your life. Absolutely fucking amazing to me. Because it's their life too, right? That's what they're doing with their life. You put your life on the line, and now they're spending their time on Earth saving your life. It's fucking cool. It's so awesome.
Exactly. They deserve, and a lot of them as well didn't necessarily were going to go down that route. It wasn't until obviously the war in Afghanistan and Iraq all kicked off. Then
right, he went to medical school to fucking like start a family and buy a nice home and chill in London, saying say ah and giving kids cold medicine.
And then the military were pulling civilian doctors, surgeons across, and then before you know it, you know, a lot of the team that worked on me weren't military doctors and military nurses. They were just plucked out of wherever, found and said, look, you know, we need your expertise. Can you get over it? And that's what was happening.
You get there. So for 3 years, you're just like in a dormitory with other dudes who have pieces blown off their body, and you guys all walk down to the cafeteria together, and then they're like, "Okay, Ross, today we're going to teach you how to use we're going to teach you how to walk without toes." And that was 3 years of that.
Yeah. So basically, Headley Court was it was an old RAF base from like I think World War II. I think the pilots. It was like a an old recovery place or training place for pilots back then. So yeah, they just obviously took that over, pumped some money into it, and basically they made a couple of the floors into almost copied like it looked like a hospital ward. So you had hospital beds. So you'd have like in one section four or five beds with the curtains and that, like you do in hospital, and that, and each bay had those knocking about. So at one time you'd probably have, I don't know, 30 to 50 soldiers there at a time, because they used to rotate you. So I used to do 3 weeks there solid. They'd then send me home for a week or two.
When you say home, where's that? Another
that
base?
would be back in Devon or back in London.
But another base, not really home.
No, sent home. I used to go home.
Oh,
yeah, send me home, and then literally they'd be like, go and just rest up, and then come back in 2 weeks. It was so we weren't getting absolutely hammered with the rehabilitation and the rehab constantly, and also they could switch out, get more soldiers through. So we all sort of rotated through like that, and that's why it probably took 2 to 3 years to finish my rehab, because obviously, I had to have a couple of breaks here and there.
This is an amazing story. Thanks for doing that for all of us, Ross. Really sorry for your injury. I wish the world wasn't so horrible. Appreciate so much that you guys protect and defend us.
Appreciate it. Kind words.
And Ross, during this time, when you go home, is that when, from looking at your story, is that when the drinking starts?
Yes.
When you go home. So
when I got medically discharged, that was the time, because you can imagine
after 2 years or while you're doing rehab, they send you home.
No, not while I'm doing rehab. After the 2 years. So once I'd finished all my rehab, and they were like, "There's nothing else you can do. You're up walking on your prosthetic leg." At the time, they weren't really bothered about mental health, because they had so many soldiers injured, with 1, 2, 3 limbs missing. The main role was to get them up and mobile so they could have some sort of normal life, I suppose. So once you were up and walking and you're kind of, good to go, they then obviously send you home. And I then got medically discharged out of the military. So that was it. So after 12 years.
Did you want to stay? Did you try to stay?
No, not after I got injured, because, I didn't join the military to sit at a desk and do a desk job. So
right.
I was like, yeah, look, I'll take I'll take, medical discharge and get out of there. But that's then when the problems start, because then as soon as you're medically discharged out of the military, you just get sent home, and then you're forgotten about. That's it. You just like, see you later, and then you just go home, and then that's when all the problems start. So I went from obviously being in the military, having a full-time job, to then being around all the lads that are injured. So everyone's in the same boat, so everyone understands what you're going through. So if you have a bad day, someone can pick you up, and you look at him and he's trying to pick you up and he's got 3 limbs missing. You're like, well, what the hell am I moaning about? He's got 3 limbs. I've only got 1,
Right.
And we'd support each other and help each other and that. But you go from that, being around those people, to getting sent at home. So I got sent home, and then I was just sat at home, had no reason to get up. I didn't leave the house. I didn't see anybody. And then obviously that's when I started drinking.
What happens for you? What happens? You start like, what the fuck's happened to my life? I'm missing a leg. How am I good for anyone? Holy shit, my friends died. Holy shit, I killed people. Like, is it just, is it those, are those the stories that are starting to pour in as you're just kind of like looking into your future and looking into your past, and you're not able to reconcile it? Is that where the darkness starts? Or
yeah, I suppose it's that. Also, it's a bit of anger, a bit of, why me? Why did it happen to me? It's cut my life short. Because you do sit there and you think, well, that's the end of my life. What the hell am I going to do now? I'm never going to have another job, or I'm never going to do this, or I'm never going to do that. And then it is a little bit of anger as well. And you're just like, and then, like you say, and once that process starts, it's very hard to then get out of that negative mindset, because then you start, like you say, then think of all the things that you've done and all the things that happened and all the things that you've seen, and it's just a vicious circle, and it just spirals out of control.
And eventually leads to, what's the point of living? That's what it leads to, right?
Exactly. Got to the point, because I was on probably about 40 different tablets a day for the pain. I was on morphine,
What was the pain? Even after 2.5 years, there was pain?
Yeah, so I had a lot of pain from like the scars. I had a lot of pain from obviously the injuries. Obviously with the amputation, you have phantom pain. I've never experienced that, so obviously all the phantom pains kick in, and you know that was a completely new thing to experience. You know, your body, your brain's telling you you've got a pain in your foot, and I'm like, well, I haven't even got a foot, so, and there's nothing
Wow,
you can
that
do.
is so fucking weird.
Yeah, and there's nothing you can do about it. So it's not like, you know, if you've got an itch, you can scratch it. You know, your body, your brain's telling you you've got pain coming from your knee. Well, I haven't got a knee on the left side, so how can I have pain? And your brain's telling me I'm in pain, but there's nothing you can do. You just got to take it.
What's the explanation for that? Do they have a
It's just the
legitimate?
nerve endings. Yeah, it's called phantom pain, and it's
I've
just
heard that, but it doesn't even make sense
yeah,
until
it's
you
just
experience it, right?
it's weird. It's just obviously the nerve endings, and it's just like from years of obviously having, I suppose, having a leg to not having a leg. The brain, it takes a while for those kind of nerve endings to kind of, I suppose, desensitize is the word I suppose you're looking for. But
Do you still have those?
yeah, I still have them now. Yeah, I get, so there's pains and there's sensations. So there's probably 10 to 15 pains and sensations, and I get a couple of each. So it can be anything. So I get in my foot, I get like a really deep throbbing pins and needles feeling, which is
In the foot that doesn't exist?
in the foot that doesn't exist. Yeah, I get itches in the knee that obviously you can't scratch, which are not painful but are really annoying.
Yeah, yeah.
I get
Oh,
really
and so that what a great time to drink,
yeah.
right?
I get
Wow.
knee ache, really deep knee ache in the knee, and obviously I haven't got the knee. And then the other one that I can only the other two I get, actually the only way I can describe it is, imagine you're barefoot and you tread on a nail, and the nail goes right through the palm of your through the bottom of your foot.
Yeah.
That's how I imagine that would feel, and that's the pain I get that sometimes. And then the other one I get is for about 5 to 10 seconds, like just a little electric shock. So I'll be sat there and I'll get a literal electric shock, and I'll just be like, oh, there it is. And it will just be like a little electric shock for about 5 to 10 seconds.
So you could be on this podcast and it could just happen and
Yeah,
you
I
just
could be
gotta
on this
deal with that shit.
podcast and you might see me go like that in a minute, and that could just be a phantom pain. It's just an electric shot in the foot or in the knee or wherever they decide they want to put it.
Damn, that's wild. And shit got bad. You got home. Did it get bad quickly?
It got bad pretty quickly. When I obviously wasn't surrounded by the people I'd been around for the last sort of 3 years, wasn't seeing anybody.
Was any of it fun? Did you enjoy any of it? Did you enjoy going to the liquor store and buying the alcohol? Did you enjoy any of it?
No, for
No,
2 years,
just sucked.
for 2 years, I just literally sat there, just wasting away, thinking that's the end of my life. And then, like I say, in those 2 years, I was on a lot of medication. So twice, so in that 2 year period, I got drunk, and I just thought, what's the fucking point? And I just took as many tablets as I could and drank as much whiskey as I could. But at the time, I was so drunk, I ended up bringing up all the medication that I'd taken. So that saved me from probably overdosing.
So what was your drink of choice?
Whiskey.
Straight?
Yeah.
And from the bottle or in a glass?
Yeah, no, straight from the bottom.
Oh shit! Wow. I mean those are like the signs, right? You mix it
Yeah.
with something, then you don't mix it with something, then you're just drinking the shit
Well,
from
I
the bottle.
started off with Coke, with Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
and it just went. And then when it was my absolute rock bottom, was just straight neat out the bottle.
And so do you remember the night you did that? Were you like, okay, I'm gonna take all these pills
Yeah,
and I'm just
yeah.
gonna and what did you think? I'm just gonna turn myself off? What
I'm
about
just
your parents? Weren't you tripping that your parents were gonna find you dead?
at that point, I didn't care. I didn't care who found me. I just didn't want to be here anymore, and
Yeah.
it's really selfish. But I didn't want to be here because I just didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and I just didn't want to just sit in this house every day, not having a reason to wake up and and that's how bad it is. And the thing is, you can reach out to charity. There is some charities there that you can try and reach out to, but the mental side of things is just not there. It's just not the same as it is for the physical side of things. So you know, I'm not going to name any charities, but I reached out to a couple, and you know, they put you on a waiting list, and I'm like, well, in a month's time, I might not fucking be here. I just make sure I don't time my next attempt till after a month. Yeah. I'm just like, what?
Hey, should anyone have seen signs? Should anyone have, like, and would you know if you saw someone spiraling? Would you be like, oh shit, that guy?
And us blokes don't talk about anything. We don't talk about absolutely anything. You know, especially in the military. The military is, you know, you're supposed to be this tough.
Yeah.
Whatever, and you can't talk about feelings, and if you do, you just get your fucking piss ripped out of you, and you just like shut up and get on with it. And unfortunately, that's what the military culture is like. You know what I mean? And so you would never, in a million years, even try and say, "Oh, you know, I've got problems" or whatever.
In defense of that culture, it's a survival mechanism when shit's going down, right?
Yeah.
Like I had a guy on the show, and he was saying that they had a helicopter landed in the middle of a horrible firefight, right? And like one of the guys in the group got killed, and their way of processing it, even though it was their best friend and they loved him to death, as they took his body back to the base, the whole time they just talked shit about him.
Yeah,
like, fuck that guy, he deserved it. He was late. That's how they processed it. Instead of like crying, they just fucking attacked him verbally.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean,
just as a survival mechanism, right?
Yeah, because like you say, like obviously we had casualties out on when we was out on operations, but you know, as soon as he got casevac'd out of there, he cracked on with the mission. You couldn't stop to think, oh, is he all right? And no one asked anybody. You just crack on, and it wasn't until, you know, 2-3 days later till the mission was finished and you're back in your fob or whatever, then you'd go to your sergeant major and you go, oh, how did, you know, so-and-so, all right, did he make it? And he'd be like, yeah, he made it, he's back in the UK. Or he'd be like, no, he didn't make it back. And you'd be like, fuck. And just...
And you push all that down until you get back
home. And then you forget about it, and then you crack on. And then and you don't process any of it.
Right. And then so did that night, when you did that, did you know, were you like, did you say any goodbyes or anything? Like,
no, I didn't do it. I didn't say any goodbyes. I did, because
did you write a note or anything?
I didn't nothing. I didn't, because I wasn't gonna text somebody or put it out on social media. You know, I wasn't seeking attention. I just didn't want to be there, and it was just like, whoever finds me, and that was it. And I was
just done. You're like, I'm getting off.
I'm just done. I've had enough, and I'm done. And whoever finds me, and yeah.
Did you think about where you would go after you died, even, or you didn't even care?
Didn't care.
Yeah, whatever. If it's over, it's over.
Yeah, exactly. Which at the time is like, you know, really, really selfish of me, because my you know, my ex-wife now, but at the time, obviously, we were still together. Obviously, we just had a baby as well, so you know, it's really selfish time with me.
How old's your kid now?
He's 14 now.
Oh, congratulations!
So I have him. You know, I have him 50% of the time. So you know, and he doesn't know any better. You know, he's always been born with my CrossFit leg, so he's quite protective of me. If people stare at my leg and that, he gets quite protective. But yeah, that he was probably my saving grace, because I looked at him one day. He must have been about, I don't know.
You're like in your gym,
6 months old.
After the workout.
I found this
Brent.
Sorry, say that again. Something turned on.
I said my boy was probably about 6 months old, and he was my saving grace, because I woke up one morning and just looked at him and thought, what the fuck you doing? You got this beautiful little boy here that needs you. And I was like, I'm not letting anybody else bring him up as their dad. I'm his dad. And he's pretty much, that was the light bulb moment for me. I was just like, what are you doing?
Hey, there's this Taoist saying, in this book that Lao Tzu wrote. It's called the Tao Te Ching, this little book. And he says, stop thinking and all your problems will go away. And what I'm hearing you say, how I interpret it, is you saw your son, and Ross, when you see your son, Ross doesn't matter.
No, exactly.
And that's like the biggest way of like understanding. I think a lot of people don't understanding is when you work for other people, like, I don't mean like work for them like at 7-Eleven or at the store, but when you give yourself to someone else, it's the best moment in your life, because you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you kind of had that moment. You're like, fuck it, I'm giving myself to this dude.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm not going to let someone else, I'm not going to let some other bloke bring him up or whatever. He's my son. And
yeah, I'll dedicate my life to this 6-month-old thing completely, and my shit's gone.
Yeah, exactly. And then from that moment, I was like, right, I need to get my fitness and health back, and started going to the gym, and that was it. And it just went from there.
Oh, you guys heard that? You guys heard that audio? I thought Brent joined. You guys heard that audio for a second? Did you hear it, Ross?
What's that? Sorry.
When you were talking a second ago, did you hear some audio come in?
Yeah, I heard some audio briefly.
I had another YouTube station open for coffee pods and WODs, and then it must have just turned on while I was in the middle. And so someone said, I thought Brent joined the show for a second. That's funny. Jake Chapman, Sevi, if Ross fancies coming to the Isle of Man, let him know I've got a spare room for him. Oh, this dude's a great dude. Jake Chapman. He owns a CrossFit gym there.
Oh, sweet.
Hey, is the Isle of Man cool? You guys own that, right? That's like
yeah. It was for us, but it's down so I know exactly. I've been there when I was a kid with my parents before, so yeah.
Is it cool? Is it nice?
It's a little place, yeah. It's even quieter than this place. So if you want to go there, that's from peace and quiet. That's a good place to go as well.
Yeah, this is a cool dude. I can vouch for this dude. Jake Chapman's a cool dude. He's offering you a room at his house, and I think he owns a couple CrossFit gyms.
Oh, sweet! I have to look it up.
And then so basically you just turned into just a pile of shit in 2.5 years. No exercising except for just bringing the bottle up, boozing. And then when did, and you're obviously you came across my plate because you have incredible people who work over at wheelWOD. Fuck, you guys are lucky you have Kevin Ogar, Lisa Gall, Mrs. Ogar. What a great group. And I apologize for anyone I left out. You got what a great group. Yeah, I mean those guys. Oh, say that again.
Leslie as well. She's great.
Leslie, isn't there another guy too? A stout or a pout?
Yeah, Stouty. Yeah.
Stouty. Yeah.
Amazing people.
Yeah, they make mine and Caleb and Suze's job so easy. They're like, oh, you should see this guy. Oh, you should see this guy. So when does that happen? Had you heard of CrossFit when you were in the military? No.
So when I got injured, CrossFit just started getting quite big in the UK, and they actually started bringing it into the military. So the army actually used CrossFit as part of their fitness regime, but I just got injured, so I knew it was on the radar, but I didn't really know nothing about it. But I actually didn't get into CrossFit for a while. So after, obviously, I had my shit 2.5 years with my mental health, and then I started just going to the gym just so obviously I could break that cycle, get out of the house.
Who got you into the gym? Did someone take you? Did a friend come and drag you?
Obviously, it was from obviously, having that light bulb moment, looking at my son, going, right, I need to sort my life out. And I was like, right, the first step is I need to start getting out of the house. And I was like, you've always been a fit guy. Let's start with going back to the gym. So that's how it started. So
you remember that first day? Was that weird going in there and just being a pile of goo?
Just being a pile of goo, just not fit at all.
No.
Just thinking, what the hell? This is going to be horrible.
What did you do your first day? Did you just do the normal shit? Try to do some pull-ups or some lat pull downs?
Sat on the
bench?
On the bike for a little bit, and then did a little bench press, did some arms, all the usual crap. And then, But I was out of the house for an hour. And then each day I just tried to just keep adding to that before you knew it, I was back in the gym, then starting to plan all my sessions while I was going to train and just getting back into it properly. So I did that for probably about 2 years. And then I came across powerlifting. So
sorry, those 2 years you liked it? You were making friends there? You were talking to people? It was the whole thing, right?
Yeah, just making friends in the gym. Obviously, my time at Headley Court, obviously, there was people working there that were doing things outside of rehabilitation. So there was charities and adventure stuff going on. So in that 2 years of being in the gym, I went and tried loads of Paralympic sports like wheelchair, basketball, swimming, all sorts of different. I went over to San Diego, did loads of Paralympic sports over there. And just within that 2 years was just trying lots of different sports and fitness and whatnot. And then I came across an email from one of the charities saying, do you want to try powerlifting? And by that time, in those 2 years, built a bit of muscle and got a bit stronger. And I thought, yeah, I'd give that a go, a bit of powerlifting. And I went and did it. And all the GB team was there and the coaches was there. And I really enjoyed it. So I then looked for the next comp. I then did that, and I did about 3 or 4 comps, and then I got an invitation.
What were the lifts you did?
Oh, not that picture's actually from the World Championships after I joined the squad. So after about 3 or 4 competitions, I got an invitation from the British weightlifting to go to compete at the British Championships.
And what were the actual lifts? Was it like bench?
So
dead?
back then, so for powerlifting, it's just bench press because majority of the athletes, like you can see, are lower body disabilities. So we just do the bench press part. So at the time when I got invited to the British Championships, I wasn't lifting well, not for my weight category anyway, but I was probably lifting around 120 kilos, which wasn't too much at the time. But in my weight category, that wasn't too bad. So I went to the British Championships and they were like, it'll be a nice little eye-opener for you, an experience to train and compete with the guys. And I was like, all right, cool. So I went up there, ended up winning my weight division and becoming British champion in 2015.
Did you set a PR at the meet?
Again, sorry?
Did you set a personal best at the meet?
Yes. Did,
wow. Yeah. So the crowd
so,
got you hyped up, so you showed up.
Yeah. So I had, I wasn't going there to just be a number. I had other intentions. So I got there, won the British champ, became British champion in my weight division, and then within a week, I found myself going up to train up at the university with the GB team, with the Great Britain team, and before you know it, I was part of the Paralympic GB team. I did that for 6 years. I competed all around the world. That photo you brought up was me competing in Kazakhstan at the World Championships, where I ranked 11th in the world. I just missed out on the Tokyo Paralympics by sort of 2 kilos just off the selection process. And then after 6 years, I decided to retire. And it wasn't until an ex-military guy as well, a friend of mine from my unit, Carl, who got out the military. He opened up a CrossFit gym, and I still at that time I knew what CrossFit was, but I'd never tried it. And he was like, "What are you going to do now?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know, but obviously I want to do something within sort of sports and fitness." He said, "Oh, why don't you come and try CrossFit?" And I was like, "All right." So by that time, I was like much bigger, no CV,
What's CV? What's CV?
Cardiovascular, so no endurance or anything like that. So for me, CV would be like anything more than 10 reps, So
right.
I walked into this CrossFit box, and he chucked me on a rower and a ski, and I nearly died. I nearly had a heart attack. I was like, "What the hell is this?" And then within 2 weeks, CrossFit Games announced adaptive divisions, and Carl, the guy who owned the gym, was like, "You got to go for it."
What year was this?
So this would have been in 2021.
Wow. Hey, just a quick departure from this story real quick. When you dream, do you have all your limbs in your dream?
No, but sometimes I do forget. So sometimes I forget that I have a leg missing. So like if I go to jump out of bed quickly, or
just like in real life, like you'll be on the couch and take a piss. Wow, that's awesome.
There's been a couple of times when I haven't had my leg on, and I've hopped around the house and I've gone to take a step with my left leg because my brain's telling me I still got a leg, and I go to step and then I fall, but manage to save myself because I haven't got a leg. Wow, so sometimes I still forget.
Wow. Okay. I just thought of that. I was like, God, I wonder if when he dreams, if he has his leg.
Nah, I don't know. I've been with it for so long now.
Okay, so 21, you do the open, and how did that go? That must have just been horrible since you only had 3 weeks.
Yeah, absolutely horrible. Because I was strong but had no gymnastics, my conditioning on any of the rower, bike, ski was just non-existent. Had no gymnastics. I was strong, so. But I'd never done any cleans or snatching, so I had to learn, a lot of the movements. So the first year, I think I finished just inside the top 100 in the world for my division. And then I think one of the workouts had bar muscle ups in it, and obviously that just ended that there and then. So I was like to Carl, I was like, right, I need to, before the Open, I've got a whole year now till next year's Open. I need to learn all these movements. So then I just spent a year with Carl learning all the movements, dropping a bit of weight so I could get the gymnastics.
Well, kind of you're kind of like the perfect CrossFitter in a way. Outside of getting blown up, as a young boy, you built your engine, which is huge. Very difficult to build a massive engine. Then you spent a handful of years building your strength, and then now you're in the phase of your life of bringing the two together.
Yeah, so this was right at the beginning. This was that you brought up here. So this was right. This was that year of just learning the movements and that. So I then went completely the other way. I then stripped right down, lost a little bit of strength, but got really good at gymnastics. And now I'm trying to get my strength back.
And then so how did you do in 2022?
So 2022, I went, because I believe I finished like 97th in the first year. I then finished 76 in 2022. So obviously I improved. But then at that point, I was like, right, there's something missing. If I'm going to do this properly full time, or if I'm going to get to the games, I need to kind of make this like my life. And obviously, being a full-time professional athlete on the GB squad, I still had sponsors and that. So I spoke to a few of my sponsors and that, and I was like, look, I'm going to do this full-time. Would you support me? And luckily, some of them come across to CrossFit with me and support me now through CrossFit, which allows me to train full-time. But I was like, right, what do I need to do to get to the games? And I needed to bring on a full-time coach. So then that's when I looked around. I ended up then going on to the Red Pill training program. And then within a year that of being on the program, I went from in 2022 being 76 to in 2023 finishing 16th in the world.
Wow.
And then obviously another year this year, then actually, going from 16th to 6th and now going to the games.
And did you win wheelWOD?
No, so I came third. I came third at wheelWOD.
And you said you took 6th this year in the Open, and then you guys did a quarterfinals or semifinals?
So no, I took 10th in the Open, and then I took 6th in the semifinals. So we didn't have a quarterfinals; we just had online semis. So I took 10th in the Open, and then 6th in the semifinals.
And how many do they take?
They take top 10 to the games.
Oh shit! So and now it's showtime in San Antonio.
Yeah, well, as best I can. 12 weeks ago, I suffered a tear in my adductus longus in my groin. So for the last 10 weeks, I've been really working hard behind closed doors to get to a position where I can still go and compete, because I didn't know if I was going to need surgery, but luckily I didn't need surgery, and recovery's gone really well. So podium's probably not on the cards this time round, but I'm going to give it my best and see what happens. But 100%, if I hadn't got injured, I truly believe that I was in contention to podium this year at the games. 100%, I believe that.
How'd you tear it? Squatting?
No, I was doing a dumbbell box step up, and as I stepped up and went to push down through the box, I just felt this pop, and I knew straight away.
Which one is it, Caleb? Oh, the green one.
The adductus longus, yeah.
Oh shit! Did that hurt?
Yeah, it hurt a lot. And then I went and had a scan, and then the next kind of 2 days, all the swelling and bruising came up.
Did it actually tear off the bone?
It didn't tear. It was a partial tear. It didn't go right. It didn't go completely off the bone, but it went right through the muscle, so it made it a little bit more complicated. But
you think that's your fault, overtraining or not eating right, or what do you think?
No, I mean, Red Pill's always known for the volume of training. I mean, I do have a lot of training, but my body's used to that, and I eat well. I've got a nutritional coach. I've got one of the coaches from CBG Nutrition, so I do all my recovery. I've been in this, not necessarily this sport, but I've been in this game for a long time. I've been a professional athlete for over 10 years now, so. All my recovery and approach to training and diet is all done properly. So I just think it was a freak accident, because I'd already done 4 sets. And there was nothing, there was no little niggle, or, you know, sometimes when you do a movement or a rep and you think, oh, that didn't feel right, I better stop or better lower the weight. Nothing. It literally just, the next rep, it just went. So there was nothing to give me an indication that it was going to happen. So I just believe it was a freak accident, because coming off the semi-finals, I felt I was probably the fittest and strongest I've ever felt. I felt, you know, I got 2 event wins worldwide. So I felt really good, and hence why I truly believed I was, you know, in contention for a podium spot.
When 2 event wins worldwide in the semifinals or the previous games?
No, in the semi-finals, yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, so you were firing on all cylinders.
I was going into the games like best shape ever.
Wow. Hey Ross, why not not compete and just heal for next year? Like, do you have any concerns that, like,
I've spoken,
are you being stubborn, or?
I've spoken long and hard with my coach about it. Part of me doesn't want to. Part of me wants to just, like you say, completely rest, recover, and that. But part of me wants to go and experience it. You know, I worked so hard to earn that spot, and it's not a given. Next year, I might not qualify. You know, it's getting harder.
And I guess the
harder.
experience is huge too, right? The pressure of the crowd, the travel, just all the strategy.
You know, it's not a given. They only take, obviously, because our numbers aren't as big as the elite, but they only take 10 in the world. So to get top 10 in the world is a hard thing anyway, and so it's not a given. And obviously our divisions grow each year, and it's not a given that next year I might not qualify, because every athlete's getting better, getting fitter, getting stronger. There's more athletes coming from other sports.
You're getting older.
I'm getting older. I'm I think I'm the second or the oldest in my division. So, you know, I'm giving 5, 6, even 10 years to some of these guys. But, you know, so there's no given that I'll qualify next year. And I've said, you know, to myself, I've said, you know, I've probably only got about 5 years left of competing before I probably want to go into coaching. So in that 5 years, I want to try and get to the games as many times and try and podium, and eventually, if not, try and, you know, win the games if I can. And yeah, so part of me wanted to stay and just, you know, recover for next season. But then part of me was like, I've worked so damn hard and I sacrificed so much, you know, to earn that spot, that if I'm in a position where I can still go and compete, then I'm going to go and compete. I'm not going to be at my best, but I'm also not stupid. If I, at any point throughout the whole competition, feel like I need to withdraw myself, I will withdraw myself. I'm not going to risk anything for next season. But the way my recovery has gone and the way I'm training at the minute, I feel that I can still be competitive on the floor.
Hey, do you know what the workouts are?
We've only had 2 released so far. We were told from wheelWOD that they were going to release all of them beforehand, but we've only had 2 released at the minute.
So I guess you and your coach are like, hey, there's going to be workouts that aren't going to necessarily be a heavy burden on your injury, and those are the ones where you're going to have to bite down and make a statement. Because I mean, if you win an event there, or do well there on at least on the events that don't directly use whatever that abductor thing you said, I that's a good point too, right? I mean, you can still go.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, these are the workouts so far. Row.
Yeah, so we've got a
row ski, 1 mile run, and all.
So I don't have a 1 mile run. Instead of a 1 mile run, I've got a 75 cal echo bike. Okay.
And how are the machines with that tear?
Yeah, the machines are all right. The machines aren't too bad. They're yeah, you can obviously, the ski you can get away with. If I don't want to hinge too much at that point, I don't have to, and it all becomes arms, which, you know, I'm quite capable of. It then just becomes about lung capacity and endurance, which I'm slowly getting back. And it's also, you know, something like that. That's just how much do you want to hurt? And I feel one of my stronger points is that I've got over a lot of the other guys in my division is I'm probably only, apart from 2 of us, Derek, us military guys, I feel like mentally I'm a little bit sure I can go into that hurt locker if I want to be and stay there longer. The more, you know, the mental side of things, I feel like I have a bit more of an advantage because of my military background.
Hey, what about could bench press show up there?
Bench press could. We've had bench press in a qualifier once for one of the wheelWOD games, so it could be there.
And that would be cool. That would
that would be nice. That would be good to see. I haven't seen it since because Kev's got a benching background as well. Obviously,
yeah. Come on, Kevin. Little home cooking.
Like it was funny because at wheelWOD last year they had bench for some of the other divisions.
Yeah.
And we had deadlifts instead. And I said to Kev, I said, come on, man. I was like, why did you give us deadlift instead of bench? And he said, I did think about it. And I was thinking of it. But I was like, come on.
Okay, so you guys got a cross carry. I'm guessing that's like the star carry. You carry a heavy bag. 8 shuttle runs. Is that while you're carrying the cross?
No, not without. For me, I haven't got shuttle runs. For me, we've got calorie ski instead.
Okay. Hey, there isn't something they could do that lets you, hey, do you have one of those things that I see instead of crutches? It's a thing like you put one leg on like something that has 2 wheels. It's like a little skinny scooter.
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah, I don't have those. No.
Oh, because you have the leg.
So I've got, so I have my.
Why don't they make you guys run? Like, fuck that. Just do it.
I'm assuming it will come up in some, but most of us in our division have got blades. We just put a running blade on.
Oh, wow. You have blades? You know how to do those too?
Yeah, I've got a blade, yeah.
Wow, that must be crazy with just one blade. That must be weird.
You get used to it after a while, but it takes a lot more energy. It's quite tiring because of the amount of energy required to use the blade.
It also seems like it's like kind of like juggling or like throwing with your left hand. Like there's a huge a steep learning curve to get the most out of that blade.
Yeah, there is, and depending on your technique, because if you have a knee joint, some blades you can have a knee joint in, which means then you bring the blade underneath you like a more natural running stance. Yeah. Or some of us just have the fixed pole. So I've used both, but at the minute I've got a fixed pole where you just swing it out to the side, so then it becomes a lot of hip sort of core movement.
If I'm Kevin, I'm gonna send Kevin an email. If I'm Kevin, I give you guys like an obstacle course, like make the one-legged guys run through cones and shit.
Oh yeah, I'll do all of it.
Just for entertainment value, like a lot of sharp turns, and see if you can tip them over.
They can throw whatever they want at us.
You know what I mean? Like just like yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay, well, when do you go to San Antonio?
So I'm looking to go out on the 15th. So I would do 2 weeks. I'd go out 2.5 weeks before, get settled, go through my normal comp routine. But obviously, going there, not 100%. I know pretty much this year is just for fun for me and just to experience it. So I'm not doing all that normal routine. So I'm going out a few days before the briefs and then go and do all the briefs and then compete. And then obviously having a couple of days the other side and then coming back.
Are your parents still living there?
No, so my parents are now back in the UK now, so they're back now, but they've got a lot of friends still out in LA. They lived out in LA for I think it's over 10 years.
Wow. And okay, are they going out to watch you? You said
they were. They're not this year now. They're going to save it. Hopefully, if I qualify.
They're like, "Fuck you, you're injured."
Yeah, exactly. My dad was like, "Why do I want to come and watch you come last?" And I was like, "Cheers." I was like, he goes, I'll watch it on telly. You come last, and I'll just watch you next year.
Man, your parents must be so happy. What a scary thing. Do you ever think about that yourself? Like, you said you have a son.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about that? Like, oh man, I hope my son. The world can be a dark, scary place, either on the outside or in between your own ears, and I need to make sure I raise him to be equipped to deal with that.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, in today's age, it's there's all sorts out there. But yeah, I try and raise him best I can, and that try and be prepared for all sorts and support him in whatever he wants to do. And as I say, he supports me, and my parents have been amazing through all of this as well. So I'm quite lucky.
Dude, your parents must be so happy you didn't fucking succeed. Oh my God, they must be so happy.
I'm lucky. I'm happy that I didn't succeed. I mean, I don't know, but it just shows. It's like I said, I've done many interviews and podcasts before, and I just, it just shows how bad and how dark those places you can get. For it to be that bad to actually try and take. Because I've sat there before and gone, at what point is it that bad that you think? And I've been there now myself twice. So, I do a lot of mental health talks, and I do talks in schools and to companies and whatnot, and I tell my story, and and I go into detail, and I'm not ashamed to admit with all my mental health problems that I had, but I think part of it now has helped me be the person I am now. you know, I'm able to. I was lucky. I was one of the fortunate ones to come out the other side. You know, so a lot don't make it.
Hey, do you think that outside of like, you know, crazy shit happening in your life, but at the place you're at now, could that ever creep back in?
Nah, 100% not.
No.
No.
And what's interesting too is you think of all the people, and I don't mean to like harp on these organizations that are trying to do good, but think of all the people that have been in that place that haven't reached out for help. You know, like I was in that place, not where you were, but like I was done too, and I didn't reach out for help.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Just the fact that you think that someone actually reached out for help and they didn't get it, that's kind of, we got to fix it. That has to be fixed. There has to be like, if you reach,
100%.
because so few people probably reach out.
No, nobody. I mean, this is what I was saying earlier on to you when I said like I did reach out and I got told I was going to be put on a waiting list, and I was like,
that's crazy.
I was like,
put the gun down. We'll get to you in a month.
Yeah, we'll get. Yeah, try and stay alive. We'll speak to you in 2 months' time. I was like, I mean, so it's, you know, the government, especially in the UK, needs to do more, and I think it's the same in every country. I think just mental health is such a taboo subject, isn't it?
Yeah, and also kind of like, I don't know. I'm allergic to the word government, so I'm sorry, but we need to do more as humans. There should have been someone, or like we need to be alert as humans and be like, hey, if you see someone exhibiting this behaviors, talk to them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've got ex-military friends that are still going through mental health, but I speak to them once a week. I just touch base with them. We chew the fat on the phone for half an hour.
Yeah.
Chat shit or whatever you want to chat about. He can, or sometimes I don't just chat, I just listen to him. Like he just chew my ear off for 30 minutes, but it helps him.
Right.
And we just check in, you know, because like when I do some talks sometimes to like the construction industry, which is obviously male dominant, and they're all the same, you know, they all take the piss out of each other when they're at work, but no one see it and they all put a fake smile on. But when they go home at night behind closed doors, then all the shit hits the fan and the mental health kicks in. Like no one's checking on it because you don't see it. And this is what, you know, as men, we just need to be more aware. And it's all right to talk about your feelings or talk about your mental health. And it's nothing to be ashamed about. We're only human. We're all wired the same, you know?
Right. We need more women in construction.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to see women walking around with 4x8 pieces of plywood. Hey, did you ever do construction?
No, I never, not in Civvy Street. I did obviously a bit of construction within the engineers and in the military and that, but
you made a lot of doors quickly. You made a lot. You remodeled a lot of places.
Built a lot of bridges. Engineering, we build a lot of bridges. So I've built bridges in my day. Yeah.
Hey, did you build more bridges or blow up more bridges?
Probably about 50-50.
All right, good. Yeah, you giveth and you taketh.
Yeah, exactly.
I was wondering when I was asking if you were in construction, I wonder if in the UK the like our sheets of wood here, if you go to like our hardware stores, the sheets of wood are 4x8, right? It's just standard 4x8 pieces. I wonder if it's the same there. We drive on different sides of the road. We do all sorts of shit different. I wonder if you guys have it like you guys are 3x6s or something.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Hey, dude, I really appreciate you coming on. I'm excited for the San Antonio September 19th to the 22nd. I'm really excited to watch the whole thing, and I'll be cheering you on. I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, appreciate it having me on the show, mate.
Yeah, you demand. Thank you so much. And Krieger's a bag company?
Yes, they're a bag company, Danish bag company. So they're one of my sponsors and that. So they support me with. They support a couple of athletes. So Harry Lightfoot, obviously James won the games.
Dude, you're in good company. Those are two cool ass dudes.
They support a couple of other British athletes as well. So Lucy Campbell, who was at the games in 2022. So yeah, they support some good athletes, and they're a great family-run business. Yeah, been a great support.
Awesome. All right, dude. Have a great day. I'll be watching you on the YouTube. Look forward into talking with you again and running into you again.
Yeah, definitely. Take care.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
And you. Cheers.
Ciao. Ross Austen, what a cool dude.
Yeah, that's awesome. He's a cool guy.
Yeah. Okay, fuck. What's going on over here?
Dude, it's crazy.
And, like Brent said, if you want to talk about it, like we can learn something and then maybe provide something of value. But until that point, we're not really trying to stick our heads into those areas that much. So the areas where we have intimate knowledge and information. Yeah. I mean,
I'm going to watch this.
Yeah, me too.
All right. I'm going to start at the beginning.
Yep.
All right. Does anyone want to give me a synopsis? What did I miss? Oh, it's not very engaging, this PFAA talk. Oh.
I'm not sure if anybody really thought it would be.
A guy did the Grand Canyon rim to rim on a blade, about 50 miles.
Whoa.
God, I think rim to rim is further than 50 miles. You mean? I think it's like 189 miles to go from, because I think that one of the rims of the Grand Canyon, it's just one way. I think it's like 60 miles in and 60 miles out or some shit. You know what I mean?
Grand Canyon rim to rim hike is between 21 and 24 miles long.
Oh, so he probably lapped it and did 50 miles. Wow. Okay. Okay. I was talking about by car. All right. Shit. Crazy.
That's cool.
No, I can't listen to those guys. Why not? Let's watch it live together. I don't want it. The reason why I started early today, an hour early, is so that I wouldn't have to compete, because I knew that was going to be a big show.
Huge, dude.
Yeah. I don't want. Oh yeah, 629 people listening over there. I'm going to give it a thumbs up. I really just want to read the comments.
Yeah, they're going to be good.
Kowski needs to do something with his hair. Oh, Vellner's hair looks great.
It looks the same.
It looks like he got a haircut. He's a little less disheveled.
Pat has the same hair as Brent, just shorter.
Pat should have worn Pat should have worn glasses to match Brent's.
Oh, just like blue blockers or some bullshit.
Hey, dude, this mayor 2 hours from me just fucking quit his job and left. And
mayor did?
Yeah, a mayor. And because he's not doing he doesn't want to be in California. He doesn't want to be in a state where he just said, fuck it, I'm out. Where your kids can begin transition surgeries without telling the parents once they're 12 years old. I don't know what this other chick, I just saw this other chick too. I just saw in Texas a Democrat just flipped to Republican. How imagine like your party just siding with a party that thinks it's okay to transition kids. It's so weird to me. How do you justify that? I hate Trump. Okay. He's a fascist. Okay. What about the part where your party wants to chop penises off of little boys? Where do you I
don't know, man.
Just where is the fucking line? Where is it that you just hear something? Did you see Nancy Pelosi on Bill Maher?
No. Is it bad?
He's like, hey, in California, they're giving $150,000 to people to buy homes. She's like, yeah, it's the American dream. And he's like, they're illegal aliens. She's like, I know. She's like, I know. That's
Isn't it great?
Yeah. I'm just like, what the fuck?
No, it's actually not great.
$150,000?
Yeah. You know how crazy it would be if I just came into $150,000?
Holy shit.
I'd buy a bigger camper.
We are handing out transition surgeries for free. They are for free already. You can already get it for free. It's called the U.S. military. Caleb was a woman.
No. It's not far off.
Yeah, the Navy. Thank you, Olivia. Yeah.
The Navy.
Hey, prison. Go to prison.
Air Force.
Yeah, the prison.
Yeah, go to prison. They'll just commit felonies. And they'll just give you a transition. And then they'll put you in a female prison, and then you can make as many babies as you want.
I just think just like freedom of speech and then the whole attacking our children, that should be enough for you.
Yeah.
I just saw Mary. Should be like, okay, what?
I just saw Mary Mansour pop up in the chat. That when she chats and stuff, I just not in our chat, but in the Coffee Pods and WODs. And when she chats something, you know she's pissed.
Oh,
I feel like she's pissed.
Oh, she's coming. She's going to bat for. Oh, someone put Sevon and did the vomit. And did the vomit sign. Look at that.
Amazing, dude. Ganong.
Well, I want to tell you something, Hannah. Hannah Dong. Hannah Gadong.
Hannah Gag on.
Yeah, Hannah Gag on the dong. For whatever reasons you don't like me, I want you to know that I am a huge proponent of freedom of speech. I make eye contact and to all homeless people and drug addicts when I walk down the street, and like I'm very personable, and I treat all human beings equally, not with equity but with equality. Except some hot chicks, I probably hold the door open for a little longer, or kids or old people, I probably give a little something extra to. And I'm but I understand. If you saw me, you probably saw a picture of me naked. Oh my God. Oh yeah, Mary's fired up.
I love when Mary gets fired up.
Oh, maybe we should just not listen and just read the comments. Okay, I gotta watch this.
I've met somebody whose girlfriend works in the I don't know what you guys call it in California, like the homeless sector.
Like we have a homeless. The northern part of the state is all drug addicts. We call them homeless, but they're drug addicts and criminals.
The drug addict sector, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to start picking his brain about what she thinks about the homeless people there, because like it sounds like she's very protective of them. So it's in the coming weeks, I'll try to kind of pick apart what she says about it. See what they have to say.
Let her know. Be like, hey, one of my friends was homeless for 5 years, and he said that they're all 99% of them are drug addicts and criminals.
That's right.
That their day job is stealing.
Yeah.
And he said he was homeless for 5 years. See what she says. I'm curious. Be like, he's a real piece of shit, though.
Yeah, he's actually still homeless, and he just uses drugs all the time.
Eric Weiss, 40 people watching. Feels like the old days. Are you in a new RV?
No, this is my RV. This is the
original. Adam must not recognize.
This is my RV. I said I was going to buy a bigger one if I got $150,000 for being homeless.
Oh, yeah, that'd be cool.
Oh yeah.
Do you know how many people are going to get that money? Oh my God. Can you imagine the corruption if you just start giving people, just the fake people that are going to get that money?
Yeah. We're all fucked if that starts happening. That would be insane.
I wonder if I could denounce my citizenship and get the money and then enter the country illegally.
There you go.
Have you ever seen where the illegals are like coming across the border, they're illegally, but then the reporters are there and Border Patrol is telling them to leave, and they're like, but we're citizens and they're not. Why do we have to go? Have you ever seen those discussions?
No, really?
Fucking crazy, dude.
Oh my God.
Hannah, God, this is great. This show has, I love comment. Let me see. It's personal choice. I just find him abrasive, not putting forward any interesting dialogue about the sport. That's not true.
Wow.
It feels pretty.
You must
petty,
be so boring.
like listening to high school locker room talk. Okay, that's fair. I'd like some examples, just so you know. You sound like someone who can't give examples, which I'm very used to when people attack me. But I think that's a good first step. It is definitely there's definitely a lot of high school talk. I agree.
No interesting dialogue.
But I am I could be abrasive. But you went from personal choice. I make you vomit.
You make me vomit.
Oh man, Mary's going to war.
Right?
Yeah.
I love when she goes to war.
Yeah, I'm with Ryan. Ryan says Sevon's abrasive, absolutely not putting forward interesting dialogue for the sport. Strongly disagree. Yeah, I think that's fair.
A little biased opinion, but I think it's reasonable.
Yeah. Oh, look it. Sevon show got me to do the open and join an affiliate again.
Oh, no shit.
Hey, can they honestly say that things are not better than they were 10 years ago? Oh God, I need to be watching this.
All right, we'll fucking watch it.
No, he said he improperly uses handicap spots. Oh shit. It's true. It's true.
Fuck.
Jedediah, you don't know how happy I am when I park in those spots and my mom's in the car, my dad, like someone who's just old as dirt. You know what I mean? I'm just like, well, no one's gonna give me a dirty look now. Listen. It's like putting my card away. You know what I mean? If I can, I can. If I can't, I can't. Like if it's like I only take the handicap spots on busy days at the beach. You know what I mean? If it's not busy, I leave it open. Equality for all. So funny. All right. Yeah. Dude, this guy Ryan Aldrich is going to bat for me. What he did with quarterfinals was amazing for the sport. Kill Taylor can be amazing for the sport. His passion for affiliates can only help the sport. Listen, fucktards. Listen, it sucks that I have to blow myself publicly so much. Actually, I don't mind. Listen,
let's be real.
This show has content every single day, whether you like me or not. There's interviews that are fucking amazing, like just the one we did with Ross Austen. There was nothing fucking gross or crass or abrasive in it. It was amazing. We got to know someone. I'm the only place fucking making a fucking affiliate videos. I fucking have a sport that fucking plays every single fucking week. We have a business show on Tuesdays. Fucking Chris Cooper, Dave Castro, Katie Henniger, the whole gang of fucking people roll through here. There's certain shows you're not going to like where we're just fucking going nuts and ass pounding Kamala Harris. I get it. Thank you. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. But there's no place like this. Like to talk shit about it and think that I'm not putting my best foot forward or that it's not the best fucking hub in the fucking entire CrossFit space. You're out of your fucking mind. I give everyone fucking credit where credit is due. I fucking lift everyone up around me, whether it's with my dick, my ass, my hands, my love, my tongue, but I lift everyone up. So you don't like me balancing someone on the tip of my dick. I get it. But I'm still lifting people up more than anyone fucking else. And the entire fucking community and the fucking affiliates and the athletes and the sponsors and fucking everyone. That's what I do here. I fucking lift people up. And yeah, sometimes people get fucking ass pounded. But you're out of your fucking mind if you think that there's like this is fucking HQ. You fucking understand that? You fucking numbnut gadong badong gadong gadong. Hannah gadong gadong. Her picture looks like Danny Spiegel. So there. Barry McCockner says, who does Sevon alienate? Should I put in pedophiles? Should I type in the chat pedophiles? I don't have any tolerance for him. It's fucked. I get it. Zero tolerance. Yeah. Zero tolerance. But I guarantee you I have more tolerance than gadong badong. Hannah. She put, I can disagree. Yeah, you can disagree. I don't think my mom watches the show anymore.
Yeah, we haven't seen her in the chat in a while.
No, I think I scared her away. All right, love you guys. Maybe I'll do a show later today. I got some friends coming over today who have kids. One of my best friends from 7th to 8th grade. He comes over every 3 or 4 months with his kids down from Berkeley. You know what's crazy? They don't have complete fucking libtard, right? Like I was complete libtard, and I've been warning him for the last 5 years, and now it's like on like Donkey Kong, like rainbow flags at all his schools, all the crazy shit he's seen in the Berkeley school system. Do you want to hear? I swear to God, they don't have back to school night anymore. It's called black to school night.
What a great play on words.
It's called black to school night. Do they think black people like that?
Do they think anybody likes that?
Yeah, but especially if you're black, like why would you want that? That would make me feel so uncomfortable. I don't want Armenian to school night and the whole fucking school has to come there.
It's pretty dumb.
Fucking nuts. Living in the Bay Area is crazy. Did you see to work on Kamala's campaign, you have to like choose your pronouns and you have to be caught up with all your boosters?
No, but that makes sense. You gotta be safe for all your remote work.
Black to school night. White? Oh, white on, brother. Instead of right on, brother.
Damn.
How about fucking Tyler in front of a fucking giant white W?
Oh my God.
Was that for Watkins? But he's all bald and shit. I'm like, oh, there goes the white supremacy show.
Oh God. Couldn't have picked a better spot.
Like pointing out blacks don't really attend school. Yeah, I guess. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I don't fucking understand any of this. Look at this shit. I've shown this before, but this never gets old. This is so crazy, this video. I just have to show this and then I'll go watch Pedro. Sorry. I know. Thank you, Caleb, for entertaining me. Watch this shit. This shit is crazy. White liberal asked if black Americans can get an ID to vote. This is like Berkeley and shit. This is where I grew up. This is what Democrats think of black people. Democrats think black people are so fucking stupid. And they don't know any either, by the way. They don't know any, right?
I have a black friend.
Yeah, it's crazy. This shit is crazy what I'm about to show you. Here we go.
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad. I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Would you go as far as say those laws are racist?
For sure.
Do you think it suppresses the African American vote?
Definitely. Because they're less likely to have state IDs.
Minority voters are less likely to have the kinds of IDs that have been described or required.
When I was I got to tell you my street cred. When I was 16 years old, I moved into an apartment building that my dad owned that he got from a repossession at a bank. And I moved into this neighborhood and it was on the Oakland, Berkeley, Emeryville border. And I was the only white person in my neighborhood for 3 years, from when I was 16 to when I was 19. There were a couple Asian dudes in there who like slang heroin, like Asian heroin dealers, but everyone else was black. I was the only one. So that's you have to understand, and that's all I did when I was 16 years old. All I did was all I did was hang out with black dudes, a couple black women, but all the dudes were old. I didn't hang out with any young black people. I was 16 and they were all 40. Years and years of this I did. Every night I'd get home from high school and then go hang out with these guys like all night, especially on the weekends, and just hang out with them. And a lot of the black guys thought that I was like, they had a word for me that they thought I was just like blowing a couple of the guys there, getting fucked by a couple of the guys. They thought I was like their boy toy or something. I forget what the word was. I don't know if spinner was the right word.
Twink.
And the cops thought that I was just always, whenever I get stopped by the cops, there was always because they thought I was buying drugs, right? And that's it. Were they grooming you? No. I was just so fucking curious, and I was so excited that I was accepted somewhere. And it was 30 miles from my high school, this apartment. So I never hung out with my friends, right? I would leave school and just go home, and that would be it. You were the token Middle Eastern guy. Yeah, yeah. I bought them a lot of 40s. We drank a lot of 40s together. Okay.
People don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for Black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for Black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask Black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any Black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie.
Because they think you're fucking stupid because you're Black. Because they think you're fucking stupid because you're Black. Dude, everyone fucking knows where the fucking DMV is. Like, everybody.
Yeah, and everybody hates the DMV. They know.
Yeah. Everyone knows
where in line to fucking get their IDs.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Oh, this is a Black guy that posted this. Yeah, it's crazy. This shit is crazy.
Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so like, we know what we need to carry around.
Yeah, everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any Black?
They all look at him like he's a fucking idiot. You know what I mean? They're all like,
right. Like, how stupid.
Yeah, like, are you fucking retarded? Yeah, they are retarded.
Adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this? Some type of trick candy cameras?
I know, right? That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that Black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is right here?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Do you have a problem getting there if you have to get there?
No.
I know these sound like silly questions. You know how to get to the DMV?
Of course.
You know where it is?
Yeah.
You can get there?
Uh-huh.
No problem.
No problem.
Just checking.
Okay.
And I also heard a lot that Black people, especially poor Black people, have no access to the internet, can't figure out how to use the internet.
That's just stupidity, honestly. Everybody.
Have you seen the video of the little Black kid on Omegle? Omegle, and he's like fucking like 9 years old, and Mia Khalifa pops up on the other screen, the porn star, and he knows right away who it is. He goes, "Oh, it's Mia Khalifa." Have you seen that video?
No.
It's fucking horrible, but fucking amazing.
Everybody has access to the internet. Even a little kid could figure out how to work the internet.
Voter ID laws?
Even a little kid could figure out how to use the internet, but not you, Black. Can you? Okay, what is this? It's fucking. That's what I mean. Like, how are you voting? Like, they think Black people are stupid. They support pedophilia and they're against freedom of speech. Like, where? Just vote for the orange-haired guy, for fuck's sake. Can you do an ad read before you get off the air? Yeah. What do I have to do? For OneSkin? Is it for OneSkin? No, but I'd like to see that. Did you see the rapper who dropped dead mid-concert last night in Connecticut? What do I have to do, Souza? Tell me. Dude, I fucking love OneSkin. I can't believe it. I got it, and it's the only skin product I use. That's why I look so good. You think it's a filter from this podcast? It is not a filter from this podcast. It's not Facebook filter, Instagram filter. It's just OneSkin. I apply it to my face. I apply it to my arms. I love it. I go like this. It smooths my calluses, but not too much so they tear. Because as a CrossFitter and as a very fit man, you can't let that shit tear. Pretty impressive, right? OneSkin. Yeah. I have not used it for masturbating. I've never needed to use lotion for masturbating because I have a foreskin. So I can't tell you about its uses there, but I can tell you everywhere else, my hands, my arm, my face. And as I get older, I'm 52, I'm starting to get some weird extra, what do they call it? Rooster chin, rooster neck on my neck. And I love to apply the lotion there because I think it's like pushing that rooster neck away. OneSkin. All natural materials.
People who don't have foreskin.
Say that again. What about foreskin?
So I'll let you guys know how it works on people who don't have foreskin.
Oh, yeah. And so we will also be letting you know soon how it works on men without foreskin who do use lotion. Caleb will be testing that out soon. Anyway, OneSkin, thank you for your support for the podcast. Thank you for the support for my skin and my health care. Love you guys. Thank you. That was good? Nailed it. Thank you. Oh, shit.
Wow, one take. All
Yeah.
you need.
And it actually is sitting on my counter, and I have been putting it on my arms and my neck. So that part's true. And actually the whole thing was true. So there. Great, honest, and sincere. Thank you. All right. Speaking of honest and sincere, let's head over to Coffee Pods and Wads. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.